When you're starting your home service business, you are going to be tempted to spend a lot more money than you probably need to. And granted, I understand that when you're in the home service business trade, it does take money to make money. That is, you're going to need to buy a certain level of tools, you're going to need to buy certain material, things that you probably will utilize for your day-to-day activity. But I do see, and I have fallen into the trap of buying more stuff than I need for my home service business. And in this video, I want to really talk about that, specifically for you new professionals who are getting into the trades, because it is a trap that if you're not careful, it can easily bury you. Let's party. Hey pros, thanks for stopping by. And I want to emphasize that when you are starting your home service business, you're going to need a certain level of capital, a certain level of money to be able to get the ball going. Now, you're not going to need a lot of money, but I tend to find that, and the trap that I have fallen into tons of times, is that I will sometimes believe that I need a certain tool for a job that I don't even have yet. Tell me if this is you. You're thinking about perhaps maybe doing a job, and you're looking at all of the different aspects of, for example, garage door repair or garage door replacement. We did a door install today. And one of the interesting things about the door install is that we needed to backfill with wood. So clearly I had to come with nails and certain wood to be able to backfill so we can place or install the garage door correctly. But the point that I'm trying to get at is that these parts, these materials, were necessary for the job to get done. Now granted, I'm not going out and buying extra wood every day or carrying a stock of wood every day. There are some pieces of wood that I carry from time to time, and I utilize those pieces specifically kind of like wedge or shims or something that will give me just some leverage to kind of set the door right or to be able to install a garage door opener onto a header. Still, I could have easily thought, well, in that situation, I'm going to need to buy a year's worth of lumber. And that's just not the case. I will not go through lumber in a year for backfilling, probably not that much. And the reason being is because I won't necessarily have to backfill a garage door all the time. Now, I know that may not necessarily mean nothing to you, but it's the idea of thinking or coming to the realization that, well, I'm probably going to want to buy all these different parts just to be able to, or I should say materials, just to be able to have it on a rainy day or in the future, or if a job does come up. But that money can be better spent back into yourself, acquiring different skills and things like that, or simply saving it. And that's really something that I want to perhaps maybe engrave and inspire, encourage you new professionals getting into the home service trades. Because when you're spending money for your home service business, it can get away from you quickly, especially if that money is on loan. Perhaps maybe you got a loan from the bank or you open up a line of credit. Of course, those lines of credits and basically any type of loan that you're going to get is going to come with interest. And as you pay or purchase certain products, certain material, you have to understand that if it's not being sold, or if you're not taking it or getting it off the shelf and utilizing it for a customer where you're going to charge for that material to get paid back, it's just going to sit there. And now what you have is extra inventory. You have material that you don't know if you're going to need. I probably have some material, some parts in my stock that I have not used in the last year, and in some cases, some other parts in years. So this is just a really good learning lesson for those who are wanting to get into the trades and who think that they need to come out the gate buying all of this stuff, buying all these parts, buying all these materials for jobs that may not necessarily manifest. Now, in conjunction with that, for example, today with that job, I was really contemplating of buying a nail gun because I have brad nail guns. I use specific guns or pneumatic guns for tools or tools that I use that will basically backfill. But for simplicity, I said, you know what, I'm just going to go buy a framing gun. I'm just going to go ahead and use that to nail. Again, I do not backfill a garage door all the time. I don't necessarily think that framing a garage door is something that I probably do on even a weekly basis or a monthly basis. Of course, the desire is there to have the tool to make my craft easier. Nevertheless, I do have hammers. I do have nails. I can use my arms. I can basically do the same thing a nail gun would do. Granted, it's going to take me a little bit longer, probably a little bit extra force. I probably could use that. I definitely could use the exertion, the exercise to be able to backfill a door, to be able to install a door correctly. So it was in that moment that I was thinking about buying that nail gun that I remembered, oh, you won't need that nail gun for every day. And that's what prompted pretty much the topic to this video, because I want to help all of you new home service professionals in this endeavor that you're starting with your home service business. I feel that so many may just have these big dreams when you're starting your home service business, just big dreams. And you want to dream big. You want to think in terms of like all of the things that you could do for your community with your home service business, clearly offering a number of services, and you're going to need specific material for those services. And of course, you'll require certain tools for those services. But here's the catch-22. How much of those, or how much of that material, and how many of those tools are you actually going to need on a regular basis? I tend to find that out of the tools that I carry, the tools that I put on my truck, they're the same ones that I normally have on a regular basis. I don't necessarily have to go through much tools throughout my day when doing garage door repairs, garage door spring replacements, motor replacements or repairs. It's pretty much a very small selective equipment that I carry. In fact, I spoke to a colleague this week, and he was looking at my truck, and compared to his truck, he had all this material on and everything like that. And he was like, "Man, how do you do it to just stay with all that stuff?" And I think in terms, well, the system that I've built, the type of work that I do, and how I'm able to manage and organize my business has allowed me to be able to be productive and at the same time efficient and cost effective for my home service business. And he was carrying a lot of material that I have, actually. I do have it. I have it stored here in my office, here in this location. I even have it in my home office. But the thing is I don't have a lot of it. I have enough to be able to do the work that we need to do, again, on a daily basis, monthly basis. I know how many springs we're installing. I know how many doors we're installing. I know how many openers we're repairing or installing. And it's with that system, it's knowing that information that has allowed me to be like, okay, here's my books. Here's what I've spent. Here's the stuff that I still have in inventory. Before I go out and buy anything, before I go and get new springs or do anything like that, I'm going to check my inventory first, and I'm going to see if I can extract from there for a job that obviously I can save money on. Now, that won't always be the case for every job, because I think there's going to be a number of jobs that will need specific needs or have specific needs. But I try to spend less when it comes to materials, because for so long, in the trap that I fell into, spending on a credit card, line of credit, I was owing much more in interest for material, equipment, tools that I wasn't necessarily using. A lot of that stuff I had to end up giving away. A lot of the tools that I have, they're stored, they're there, but they're just collecting dust. So what happens when I have to pay that bill? Clearly, I'm not getting enough return from that tool, from those materials, that I'm having to spend more and to get out of the hole just so that way I can survive. And what did all of that new material, what did all those parts, what did all those tools really do for me? Well, not much. So it's easy to say, and I don't want it to be so cliche, less is more. I think the best thing to say is the tool that is most effective is your skill and your knowledge with doing with less. In other words, if you have a specific task that is required on a job, can you do it with less equipment, less materials, less tools? And if you can figure out a way to do it, if you master your craft, if you really know what you are doing within your home service trade, you're going to find a way. And like I said, when we were framing, or backfilling, I should say, it wasn't really framing. I'm thinking framing because I wanted to use a framing gun, a nail gun. We were easily be able to backfill with hammer and nails. So think about within your home service business, what are some of the day-to-day activity within your trade where you could easily track how much materials, how much product, how much tools you're going to need, and can you do with less? I know that's hard to do because to a certain degree, there's also the factor of working efficiently, and time is money, right? We're always thinking like, what am I going to do when I find myself just behind the work and I need to get this job done and I got to get it done quick, but here I am, I'm hammering all these nails in. And that does make sense. But think in terms of maybe you may not have that scenario. Maybe you won't deal with that scenario on a regular basis. So if it's just that one time, kind of for one of those days where, hey, it was a tough one, but we got through it. We were able to get the job done with less. We were able to make more. We didn't have to charge or perhaps maybe transfer the cost over to the customer because we bought all this material. And ethically, I don't think that's good doing. I know that sometimes whenever I have a specific customer and there's some parts that we purchase for it, well, I'll deduct some of that stuff off. And clearly I can return that product. Sometimes I'm not always able to return that product. And sometimes I'll use that product for a future job. But that's the idea. In order to make sure that you're successful with your home service business, spending less is going to allow you to master your craft, to be able to do the work that you need to do, and think of ingenious ways, notice, ingenious yet professional ways to get the job done just with less. But now, let's be honest, that's not fun. It's not fun. Sometimes you're thinking like, you know what, I do deserve to get that new nail gun. I do deserve to get that new saw, that new grinder. And what I would say to that is, you're right. You do deserve it. You do deserve it. So don't spend too much time thinking about it. Go out and get it done. Make it happen. Now, what I will say, and this is important to understand, once you got it, do something with it. Utilize it. Learn it. Master your craft now with that new tool, now with that new grinder, that new saw, whatever the case is, utilize it to the max. And find a unique way. Find a way that you're able to utilize that tool so that way it makes you better, it makes you distinct. But if you're starting out new, the temptation of spending a lot of money is going to be there. And granted, I'm not saying don't spend any money. I'm not saying don't spend any money. Spend the money that you need to spend. But take into account that when you do spend it and you're having to put it on some sort of line of credit or on a credit card, you're going to dig yourself in a hole. I know for us, when we started out, I think, man, we spent a lot of money we put it on credit cards. Whew, and that was tough to pay off. And gratefully, I would say that, now that we've been able to pay that off, I mean, we still have reoccurring debt into our business, but I've definitely become a lot smarter in what I spend. Oh gosh, I can't see anyone spend in the garage door trade. I can't see anyone spending more than $300, $400, maybe $500, and that's for really good tools. Whether you're in the DeWalt camp or the Milwaukee camp, Ryobi's, whatever. Like many things, it's not the guitar, it's the guitarist. It's not the drums, it's the drummer. Granted, you could have some crappy drums, yet if you're a prolific drummer, if you're an amazing drummer, you're going to make those drums sing. Same for the guitar, same for the violin, pick whatever instrument. It could be a very inferior instrument, but if you know your craft, if you've mastered the art of music and that instrument, you're going to make it sound great. Same with tools, same with your work, same with your home service business. It's just understanding that in the beginning. Now, granted, once you're past that season, once you're through that process, yeah, splurge a little bit. Get what you want. Get the tools that's gonna make you better. That's what I did. I mean, I do that even still today. Yet, I'm probably a little bit more cautious, frugal, measured in my spending, especially now in this economy, because so many are just kind of thinking like, oh, it's really slow. I don't know what to do. I go back to the story of my colleague who I saw that had all the equipment. He's looking at my truck. He's looking at his truck. And yeah, he had a lot of stuff on his truck. And he thought, man, how do you do it? And it was so funny because that day that we were speaking, not that he didn't have work, but you could see the concern on his face for the lack of work that they were getting. They were just not as busy. And yet we were getting jobs and we were thriving and being able to go and help out our customers within the communities. But again, I think that stress that was on his face probably was due to because, again, they have a lot of overhead. They've got a lot of parts. They got a lot of materials. How are they going to get off the shelf? To whereas I've already been able to measure, or at least in a strategic way, have an idea of the parts that I will need on a daily basis, on a weekly, monthly basis, that when that inventory is there, well, I know, okay, yeah, I'm going to be using that here soon. Sure enough, especially like when it comes to springs, yeah, those are going off the shelf all the time. So being able to make better decisions with your money, being able to make better decisions with your overhead, with what you're investing in, yeah, that's something in the game that you're going to have to learn through a different season, through the time that you are growing and learning within your home service business trade. Now, what would I spend my money on right now in an economy that is not doing so great? Well, it definitely wouldn't be materials. It definitely wouldn't be product. It definitely wouldn't be tools. I would be investing money right now in you. But here's the idea what I was getting at. When you invest into skills, you're investing in you. Investing in yourself will allow you to be recession-proof. It'll allow you to be valuable, not only for your home service business, but for other businesses. You can definitely see a lot of like property managers, realtors. They're looking for people that are going to know what they're doing, how they handle a specific job, how they handle a specific HVAC problem, how they're going to be able to fix a pain point solution. They're going to go with the guy that has invested in themselves, invested into knowledge in their craft of making them just irresistible. Just one of those businesses that you have to work with. I need to work with this guy. So spending your money is an important part in every home service business trade. You are naturally going to spend money, and that is good. You want to spend money. Take into account that when you're spending money in the beginning, it will probably be measured in that first season. Think of all of the tools, product, materials, all of those things that you will need to knock out jobs every day. And the best way to do that is basically go back at the end of the week, take a Saturday, take a Sunday, take whatever day, go back and look at all of the jobs. What were the parts you needed? How far did you have to go? How much gas did you spend? That's basically overhead. That's pretty much, those are KPIs. Those are metrics that every home service business needs to know. They're different for everyone. This video is not for that. But when it comes to investing in yourself, well, you could be in any season of your home service business, and trust me, that will be the best investment that you can do. And that's what we all want, right? We want to be able to look back on our lives, to be able to see what we've built, how we've grown, how we've helped the community with our home service business. And that's why I'm so excited for you guys. Whether you're a newbie, whether you're just starting your home service business trade, or whether you're seasoned, right now you guys are in the prime of your lives. You guys are making it happen. You guys are making something great. And I'm excited for you. So go out there and make it happen. Just remember, spend a little less, do a little more. And if you are going to spend some money, invest in yourself.